Breaking from Hallis Hall at full speed, Chicago just turned the cornerback market into a live wire, and I'm walking you into it before the dust even thinks about settling, with the kind of clarity that wins in November. Welcome back to Bears News Fan Report, your trusted home for updated news and real rumors about our beloved Chicago Bears, where I cut through the noise with tape, context, and cap reality so you can feel exactly what the front office is weighing and why it matters on 3rd and 7. Here's the briefing before we hit the accelerator. First, I'll frame the playoff picture and the specific stress points offenses are attacking in our secondary. Then I'll show you the profile this defense actually needs to flip those late-game reps from hang on to close it. After that, we'll stack the market intel and money math around a single boundary corner who changes how coordinators call plays against us. And only when the full blueprint is clear will I drop the name so it lands with purpose, not hype. Context matters because Sunday's 47-42 track meet over Cincinnati didn't just pad the standings at 5-3, it redefined margin for error in the NFC. Outside the division, every win buys you one more strategic choice. Every stop you manufacture without blitzing saves one more bullet for December. And everything about this stretch screams that the biggest hinge left on our board is coverage that holds when the ball comes out hot. The front has grown teeth, the second level is tackling with anger, and our offense is finding timing that travels. But the quickest way to erase all of that is letting quarterbacks hit the sideline dig and the back shoulder go whenever the pocket holds an extra hitch. We've asked Tariq Stevenson to live on an island, and he's answered with physical press. We've patched the nickel with pros who fight, the safeties have rolled and rallied with purpose, and yet the film still shows a thin layer of air on the boundary that offenses poke at when they bump protection toward our rush. This is where buyers get honest. Either you gamble on scheme and hope the pass rush erases timing on its own, or you make a personnel move that shrinks windows and steals possessions without asking your call sheet to do backflips. The right move here isn't a logo play, it's a lever. Build the lever first, name the lever later. We need rare length that erases the back shoulder phase, legit top-end speed that doesn't panic into PI when the release is nasty, fluid hips that survive stacks and rubs, and ball skills that punish late quarterbacks instead of just contesting them. We need a corner who can play press bail with patience, matching quarters without losing the inbreaker, drive on the glance with leverage, and still carry the 9 when the split is tight. We also need someone whose presence lets the safeties cheat harder to the crosser and frees the nickel to be aggressive underneath. When that profile walks into your room, your coverage menu expands immediately. More single high on early downs without gifting free access, more 3 buzz with the weak safety hunting the dig, more man match on 3rd down with disguise that lasts another heartbeat. And if you're thinking ahead to January, that single heartbeat is the difference between a contested target and a tip drill your linebackers feast on. Everything I've heard and everything I see says the corner who fits this picture is available if the price is real and the timetable is tight. And Seattle's usage these last few weeks has quietly opened a conversation that didn't exist in September. The Seahawks have shuffled snaps on the outside, rotated depth, and lived with some variance under a new-look approach. Good teams see that not as a red flag, but as an inefficiency to exploit, because the athlete hasn't changed even if the rotation did. Now stack it with money math because this front office doesn't touch a move that isn't cap clean. I'm talking about a player on year 4 of a day 3 rookie deal, which means you're not buying a bloated option year, you're inheriting a light cap hit that fits today without endangering tomorrow. And you gain control over the extension conversation when the market cools, not when the seller dictates a number. The ask begins in the day 2 range with conditions, snaps, wins, interceptions that escalate the pick only if the addition moves the needle. And that's exactly the structure that lets you be aggressive without gambling the pantry. If the price inflates into a raw first with no protections, I'm told Chicago's line is firm, because the last thing you do is pay January pricing in October without January guarantees. But in the zone where production triggers move the compensation, you can pay for impact while protecting future flexibility. What makes me bullish is how clean the fit is on our tape. Boundary length across from Stevenson lets you keep your calls honest, late rotation holds because the outside shoulder wins by itself, and the pass rush gets one more breath. When quarterbacks hitch because the go ball isn't there on time, your games inside get home and your takeaways go up. Turnovers in this league are often about time, not magic. And elite length buys you time. All right, here's the reveal you waited for because the picture is now focused. The player that checks every box is Seattle CB Tariq Woolen, 2022 Pro Bowler, 6'4", 210 pounds, 33-plus-inch arms, verified 4.26 speed, and a history of taking the ball away when quarterbacks test his cushion. His rookie-year eruption put the league on notice, and even in a 2025 roller coaster that featured a bench ebb here and an injury scratch there, he still showed the same traits that make coordinators circle his number in real ink. Patient press that doesn't lunge, stride length that erases panic, recovery speed that flattens a rainbow throw into a 50-50 he too often wins. The dip is situational, not structural. New voices, rotation shuffles, role tweaks, and good buyers know to target usage downturns, not talent slumps. In our system, Woolen's profile lets you call more cover 3 with buzz and roll the weak safety into robber lands. Play quarters with confidence when splits get tight, and dabble in man match on third down without living in fear of the back shoulder. That frees you to tilt help toward the slot on money downs, to sit on the glance and the dagger, and to close red zone slants without selling out. It also has a subtle special teams kicker, gunner reps with skyscraper length and track speed that flips field position by 5 hidden yards at a time. These are margins that stack into January wins. There's a reason I keep coming back to fit. This isn't about dumping resources at a problem, it's about adding one piece that multiplies everything you already do well. With Woolen outside, your third and long 5 becomes a weaponized package. Stevenson and Woolen outside, squeezing air out of verticals, nickel stable underneath, safeties free to bait and drive, and a front that gets home without exotic pressure that exposes your interior. Kill false steps in Indy, marry eyes to leverage in our rules, and give him specific run-fit cues so aggressiveness doesn't turn into over-pursuit. When the technique catches up to the tools, and it usually does under a stable call sheet, you're left with the rarest combination in coverage: length that discourages the throw and speed that punishes it. So let's talk brass tacks before I land this. What I'm hearing is a conditional day 2 as the starting point, with a path to bump based on snap share and team wins. The cap hit the rest of the way is minimal and keeps your rollover healthy, and you can structure an offseason extension with guardrails, per-game roster bonuses, playtime de-escalators, and postseason triggers that reward availability and production without handcuffing future moves. It is, in short, a buyer's framework that still respects 2026 flexibility. I'd greenlight at that level and draw a hard line at an unprotected first. This locker room has earned aggression, not recklessness. Here's my concise analysis of the headline delivered straight. Tariq Woolen to Chicago is a cap-clean, scheme-true, timeline-smart move that elevates our boundary on contact, expands our disguise on money downs, and raises the ceiling of a defense that already plays with edge and purpose. Make the deal if the conditions are fair and the medicals are clean. Walk away if the sticker tries to tax desperation we don't own, because we're not chasing a season, we're building one. Now I want your voice on it because this channel lives on the smartest Bears community on the internet. Do you authorize a conditional day 2 for Woolen right now, or do you shift those assets toward a rotational edge and ride the current corner room into December? Who are your closing 5 if he lands? Do you keep Stevenson traveling, roll Woolen into boundary assignments, and turn the nickel into a matchup microgame? Or do you lock sides and let the safety rotation carry the disguise? Drop your lineup plans and cap structures in the comments, and I'll be in there with you breaking each one like it's Friday install. And if this blend of urgency, tape truth, and financial sanity hits you where the fandom lives, smash that like, subscribe to Bears News Fan Report, ring the bell for instant alerts, and send this to the friend who texts you all 22 screenshots at 1 a.m. Because when Chicago moves, you deserve the plan before the headline.